Good morning, everyone. We're really glad you're here today. We're inviting people to turn off their video while we light the chalice and Black Lives Matter candle. And we also recommend that you have the most updated version of Zoom on your computer. Please note that we're recording this service, so if you don't want to be in the recording that will be posted to YouTube, please keep your camera turned off. And now we'll begin with lighting our chalice. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all of creation, the power of love to heal what is broken, and to be grateful for life's blessings each day. Thank you. And now the Black Lives Matter candle. We light this candle in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement and work for the day in which Black lives are treated equitably with dignity and justice. And now I'm grateful to have Emily Stoper join us with a welcome from the board.
We are an intentionally multi-generational, multiracial, multicultural, inclusive, and anti-oppressive religious community. You are welcome here. I'm Emily Stoper, and here with me are Pastor Theresa Soto, Tara Miller, Stefan Schneider, and our worship producer, Vincent Rains, and others. As a reminder, we're recording this session, so if you don't want to be in the recording, please keep your camera turned off. And speaking of cameras, for much of the service, we're asking you to turn off your cameras, as this makes it easier for many of us to focus on the music and words. There will be times to see each other, and we'll let you know when to turn your cameras on.
Thank you so much, Emily.
Welcome. This morning, I have a poem to offer you, the advice poem. A friend of mine told me about a friend of hers. A lot of good stories start that way, whose mother gave them a piece of advice. Now they look dry, seem dead. This forest of what was, a sway of pink and purple, with their spots and tendrils, paper-thin beards and cheeks, these orchids now sticks. You must save them. Put them away for a later season. Then, as is likely to happen to people with the human condition, the mother died. And we both feel and imagine the ocean of grief, the riptide of loss, the tornado of tearing muscle of heart that the friend undergoes, we have undergone. And then there was the day that the friend opened the door. The sun shone in, leaves quivered, the flowers danced in fluid silence. Person still alive, flowers come awake. This is the advice. When the cute part of your life fades and the pretty part becomes more faint in memory, you must save what is bare and dry, a definite black line against the gray and foggy sky. The beauty will return if you leave space for it. I must urge you to this because it is likely that I will have a dry time. in the not so distant future, and we remain, locusts and drought notwithstanding, always each other's harvests. The Advice by Reverend Theresa Soto.
Thank you, Tara. Next, I'm so excited to share with you a pop-up choir video. I wish that I could show you.
I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you. Whenever you're lonely or walking in the dark, I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you the astonishing light of your being. I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you. Whenever you're lonely or walking in the dark, I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you the astonishing light of your being. Won't you please join us? I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you. Whenever you're lonely or walking in the dark, I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you the astonishing light of your being. One more time, as one. I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you. Whenever you're lonely or walking in the dark, I wish that I could show you. I wish that I could show you the astonishing light of your being.
Thank you so much, pop-up choir. Now we go ahead and unmute and say hello to our neighbors. Turn on your camera, turn on your microphone, get your greetings ready.
Hi, people.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi.
Ron, hi.
Hi there.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jane.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Tamara, hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dennis.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Mary Jane.
Hello.
All right.
Hi, Mary Jane. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Judith.
Kathy.
Everybody.
Aaron. Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Claudine, hi. Dennis Roquefort, hi.
Hi.
Hi, Claudine.
Hi,
Hi.
Ron.
See you all.
Fearless.
Hi,
Fearless.
David.
Hello.
Good morning.
Evelyn.
Hi, Erin.
Oh, and I need to talk to you.
Hi, Janet.
Hi, Ingrid.
Tamara. Hey,
Hi,
hey,
Erin.
hi, Janet.
Hey, Dick, I like your hat.
Hi. Hi, Claudine.
Dennis.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Tamara. What year was that video?
Laura
Hey,
Eggenberger.
Ingrid.
Hey, Evelyn Sheridan.
Hi, Stephen. Wherever you are. Carol.
2018 pop-up choir.
Oh, thank you. 2018?
Those were the days.
Thank you.
Those were the days.
Hey, Cheryl.
Next is Kathy Kate in the house. It was nice to see her singing.
He's there.
Good,
We
Sarah.
do have a Kathy in the house.
Hi, Dick.
Great, everyone. Thank you for your beautiful greetings with one another. Let's go ahead and shift to wisdom story. And I'm actually going to share my screen with you today. So it'll be just a second. This is a story about a young person learning about their body. We can call them Sam. And we're going to go back to where Sam is.
I like Sam. I like his hair.
And Sam says, my body is my friend. It tells me lots of things. I yawn when I'm tired. You yawn when you're tired. My mom used to get so mad at my brother and me if we yawned in church. She'd be like, no yawning. So it just means we're tired. My stomach growls to let me know I'm hungry. I know you've had that happen before. And sometimes I get goosebumps when I'm cold. And some of those things happen without thinking about them. I may not even notice it's happening, but we, with Sam's encouragement, can start paying attention to our bodies. So take a moment and look at the top of one of your hands. If you're not a person who looks, you can feel it, you can think about it. Then flip your hand over, look at your palm, maybe touch one of the lines on your palm, or pay close attention to it. And when I pay attention to my body, I notice many different sensations. Sensations are physical feelings that we have both inside and outside our bodies. Cold, sweaty, strong, breathless are some of those sensations. When was the last time you had a sensation you can name like that? Take a moment and rub your hands together for a few seconds. Are you ready? Rub your hands together. If you can. If not, pay attention to another part of your body and its shape, its sound, its feel. What sensations do you notice? The sensations in my body are always changing. There are times when my body is so wiggly and squirmy that it's like I have ants in my pants. I know even the adults here will remember the ants in their pants feeling. Other times, our bodies are calm and still. Sometimes hearts pounding are or hearts beating are like a gentle tap. And other times, they're like a pounding drum. Have you had that feeling? When you're nervous, upset, your heart goes pound, pound, pound. Take a moment and put your hand over your heart. Feel your heartbeat. Can you remember a time that your heart was beating fast or beating slow? Our bodies give us information about how we're feeling. And everybody has feelings all the time. Feelings are not necessarily good or bad. Every single person has them. Curious, proud, grumpy, scared. Those are a few feelings, right? What's one feeling you can name? Let's go ahead and put some of those in the chat. Sometimes when I'm sad, I get a lump in my throat. I'm trying to check the chat for anything you wrote in there. Let me do that real quick. I guess it's hard to do when I'm also sharing. So I'll keep going, but you can tell me about it in a little bit. So, being sad, crying. Crying makes Max or Sam feel better sometimes. So do hugs. We're all sad. What do you need when you're sad? Let's practice a little bit. Take a moment And you can either put your arms around yourself this way. You can also hold one of your hands. Think about whether you want your hands squeezed tightly or softly. Think about whether you want a hard hug or a loose hug. These are things that can help us feel better when we're not feeling well, when we're feeling sad. Sam's mom once explained that sensations and feelings are like the waves of the ocean. Sometimes they come in big and push hard. Other times they're soft and roll in slow. But the most important thing we can do is pay attention and not let feelings bowl us over. This is a picture of Sam and their puzzle. They put this puzzle together and their sister wrecked it. So they were pretty mad. They wanted to kick the puzzle, but then they remembered an important thing, and we're going to try it. They remembered they could breathe like a horse. In, and then you're going to look a little silly, but the point is to try it anyway. Out through their lips. Right? What that does is push the feelings around in your body so they don't get stuck, and so you can start feeling better sooner. Ready? Let's try it again. In and out through your lips like a horse. That's what Sam did. And it helped them think of something good. They put the puzzle somewhere their sister couldn't reach it. And that's mainly it. There's a lot we could do to talk about practicing with our feelings, naming our feelings. Those were the last couple of things that Sam was doing in the book. And we know about those, right? Oh, look at all these good feelings you put in there. Happy, lonely, anticipation, anxious, hope, despair, frustrated, compassion for the poor, surprise, fear, anger, hunger, joy, the giggles, warm, chilly, tense, anticipating, relieved, bored, exhilarated. When you use names for your feelings, then you can help share them with other people, and other people can share theirs with you. So those are some of the things we want to identify today. That you can use them any day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way up to Sunday. Well, thanks for listening, and I hope you'll try some of those things this week. And now's the time we're going to take a few moments and share what's on our hearts. To begin this part, I want to share with you some photos. First, we have Reverend Hope Johnson. Reverend Hope passed away yesterday. She died in New York, surrounded by family. And Reverend Hope meant a lot to the ministers of color in Unitarian Universalism. Still does, still will. And some of you have probably met her as well. Her ministry was guided with commitment, compassion, and strength, and shall be sorely missed. The next person I want to introduce you to, if you haven't met him in life, is as a remembrance of Reverend Chester McCall. He passed away within the last month as well. Reverend Chester was the chaplain's chaplain. He was described by friends and colleagues as the most flawless listener and encourager. Reverend Chester was an out gay man and was in a committed partnership. And his contribution to Unitarian Universalism is around that careful listening and also the certain knowing that we belong together. I know I mentioned to you when she passed away, but I introduce again Landria Williams. Landria was a lay leader from Knoxville, Tennessee, and we've lost her in the same space of pandemic time. Andrea served from the time she was a youth until most recently serving as one of the co-moderators of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Oh, I'm seeing a note that Reverend Chester worked with the Journey Toward Wholeness team at the church for many years. Yeah. So these are significant losses for Unitarian Universalism, and so we hold them in our hearts with care. And now, will you shift with me to a moment of prayer or contemplation? Arrive in this place, bring your heart. We know that some healing is fast, like grass that sprouts up overnight. And we pray still, because we know that other healing is slow, like the gestation of an elephant, an epic story of growing that can last up to 22 months. You know, with your hearts before you, that some healing takes even longer. We pause in this moment to acknowledge that scars are part of healing, that we nurture wounds and welcome the possibility of embracing scars. It is, as China Miéville explains, scars are not injuries. A scar is healing. After injury, a scar is what makes you whole. This time of pandemic may leave its mark, and still we move with compassion for ourselves and others toward wholeness. We rest in the care and kindness of this community. We give thanks. We give thanks for each life that intersects with our own, for the spirit of regeneration that we share, for the tenacity of this community in difficult times, for each person who contributes to the friendship, the values lived out loud, and the possibilities for the future of this community. We soften our hearts to this moment. We leave room for love and belonging, for the healing that is possible in slow, fast, big, and small ways. And though we have not yet completed our journey, we leave room for its fulfillment, for the hope that follows our commitment to what lies ahead. And thus we know all will be well. All manner of things will be well. Let it be so. Let us see to it. Now, we're going to do a thing we haven't done before. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead and unmute your microphone. Turn on
Ready.
your screen. We're going to share, and you're going to see numbers on the slides. What I'd like you to do is claim a number by typing it into the chat. You can type 1 through 47. So we're going to need people to type a couple of numbers. And then when your number comes up, you go ahead and read that slide to us. Are you ready to try it?
Reverend Theresa,
Yes.
I just want to make sure, because I wasn't able to see the slide pictures of the folks who had passed. I want to make sure we're sharing screen in a way where folks can see the reading slides.
Got it.
Oh,
Can you see that one?
yes.
No.
Yes.
Great. Do I have a number 1? I don't have a number 1 yet.
I can be a number 1.
All right, Tara, you go. Number 1.
Do something every day that your future self will thank you for, even if it's small.
That's good.
Wonderful. And then, do I
Do
have
something.
2? I have 2. Susan.
Do something every. Oh, sorry, Jane. Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
Do something every day that your past self would be impressed by, even if it feels easy now.
Ah, the way Susan read that was inspiring. It was like, yeah, I'm going to try that. So that reminded me to give you a reminder about it. Just because when you read this good advice, if it doesn't fit you like a good shoe, then you wait for the next one. Maybe that one will be your good shoe. This is not obligations, it's possibilities. Who's reading our third possibility? Let's have Jane do it.
I'll take it.
Great, thanks.
Start saying thank you for what you want as though it has already happened. Write it down, say it out loud. Even once is enough.
4.
I'll take it.
I had written down 4. I'll take it.
Ready, go.
Learn the power of momentum. Start with small tasks in the day and let it build.
What about 5? Dan, right? What
Make
about
one
5?
tiny shift in the right direction. Drink 1/2 glass of water. Walk around the block. Take 1 deep breath.
Just 1. We can try one of things, right? Thanks, Carol. 6.
When you want to cry, cry. When you want to be angry, be angry. When you want to be sad, be sad. When you want to be happy, don't ruin it. Processing in real time is how you avoid emotional issues in the future.
Yeah. That's good. These are great.
Who's 7 for us today? Emily, do you want to do 7?
Sure. Find healthy, productive distractions.
For the service.
Great. 8. I have
Unfollow.
Carol Smith for 8. Thanks, Carol.
Hey, it's Amanda, actually.
Oh, great.
Follow every single person on social media or news or updates who makes you feel bad about yourself.
Thank you, Amanda. 9.
All right, Dennis.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Ready
Dennis.
for you.
See your discomfort as your subconscious way of telling yourself that you are capable of more and better than you have at this current moment.
Maybe, right? Thanks, Dennis. What about 10?
Okay, a junk journal. Open up a notebook and scribble down exactly how you feel. Stop trying to invalidate them with positivity. Emotions, once felt, tend to dissolve on their own.
All right.
Positivity.
Yeah.
Let yourself dream. Imagine what you want to build and create next in your life.
Okie doke. 12.
Me again.
Great.
Give yourself something to look forward to. Plan a trip, make a date, or take yourself out somewhere.
You gotta do that, right? You gotta be creative because you don't want anyone breathing on you. Ready for 13?
Yep.
Okay.
If there is something you need to change in your life, start today. Look for new jobs. Write a letter to someone you need to apologize to. If it is not resolving the matter, you must.
All right.
Yeah, you must. Thank you, Aaron. 14.
He's like in first.
Not believe everything that you think.
I believe everything that you think. You know what? It seems so obvious that if you go look for good advice, that's some of the good advice you get. Don't believe it. Remember, feelings are like ocean. Ocean's just there. You do you, and ocean does ocean. 16.
16 is Evelyn. Well, this is 15. Do not trust everything that you feel.
Great. And then one more. Evelyn, I'm going to have you do that one too, please.
Okay. Think back on everything you worried about that turned out to be nothing.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Are you an Olympic class warrior like me?
Yeah.
Then you have some of that evidence.
Oh, yeah.
17. Who's doing 17 for us?
Think back on all those times you had strong, overwhelming feelings that you didn't really understand. Sometimes you just had to learn how to let them pass.
Thank you.
18. Do something each day that helps you get to know yourself better. Write down what you like and what you don't. Identify your values, your beliefs, your hopes, your fears.
Mm-hmm.
Spend time with people who you click with.
Good advice. 20. You want me to do 20?
For someone
Juice.
without
there you go.
asking for anything in return.
Sweet. You know, when I was looking to learn more about this kind of everyday healing, one of the big pieces of advice was when you're feeling bad, when you have a lot of sad, difficult feelings, one of the things that can help, and it has to be in part of a big picture, right? Part of balance. But one of the things that can help is helping others. I know you know that because you're pretty good at it, but just a reminder that you're on the right track with that. 21.
I'll take that. Okay. Disconnect from people who don't add to your life. Don't be afraid to disengage.
Not everyone is required to have access to you. 22.
I can do this one. Read something that makes you think about the world differently.
I have a suggestion for that. If y'all use Google, you'll find an article in the New York Times with Yo-Yo Ma talking about the meaning of life. And it's pretty interesting and refreshing for one's brain. 23.
23. Note what comes effortlessly to you. This is what you're here to do.
Could be. 24.
I don't know about that.
Note what is interesting to you. This is what you're here to learn about.
Cool. 25.
Note what you struggle with the most. This is what you're here to master.
Could be. Remember, you're just trying on shoes. Keep trying on shoes. 26.
Learn to stand up for yourself in a productive way. Instead of slinging insults or being passive aggressive, learn to speak your truth with dignity and grace.
Yep, it's a good practice for us. 27.
Recognize what bothers you most about other people. Recognizing whatever bothers you most about other people can reveal the unconscious truth about yourself. Use every discomfort as an opportunity to heal your own wounds.
28. Lean in deeply to that which brings you joy. 29.
Go out of your...
I want to do it.
Go ahead.
29. Go out of your way to make time for people who you really care about.
Oh, yes. Good one. Thank you. 30.
Create a vision board, either on paper or online. Map out what you want to create and what you want your life to look like.
You know why they say that, right? Because if you don't know where you're going, you're definitely going to get there. 31.
All comes about.
Learn from people who you admire. Use their lives as a guide for what you want to do.
Right?
Learn from people you dislike. Use their lives as a blueprint for what you do not want to do.
That's a good one, right? I'm going to put a word for you in the chat. Are you ready?
33.
Apophatic.
33 is mine.
Apophatic means...
Let's read it together, Emily.
Apophatic. Apophatic means that it teaches you things you don't want to do. So that's what that is. I think we're ready for 33. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Emily.
When you feel the impulse to judge another person, remind yourself gently that every time you do so, you only continue to narrow your idea of what's acceptable in life.
Good reminder. 34.
State what you are feeling, claim it and accept it, and take action in the face of it.
Sweet. Thanks, Ron. 35.
Interrogate one negative thought instead of running on autopilot. Stop and ask yourself, is this true? Do I know for a fact this is true?
Do I know for a fact? 36.
Better yet, ask yourself this. Does this thought move my life in the direction I would like it to go?
I've found it helpful now that I am grown to sometimes be like, yeah, that's true. I could figure out the nth degree of it, or I could move on to the next thought that I do want to dance with, right? You don't dance with everybody. 37.
If all you were able to do today was wake up and keep breathing, that's okay. Give yourself permission to rest.
Very important. Very important. I know you feel like you want to do more, you want to do most, but it's still a pandemic and you still have to take care of all the parts of yourself, your body, your mind, and your spirit. 38.
Make a to-do list, then cut it in half. Then cut it in half again. You should be left with the one or two most imperative tasks. Focus on those and only those.
Cut down for health. Thank you, Evelyn. Who's next? 39.
Meditate on how far you've come. Make a list of all the things you have, do, and feel that you never imagined would be possible.
Yeah, that's real important sometimes. 41.
41, but where is
What
40?
about 40?
Did we skip 40? Oh, maybe I skipped 40. No,
Yeah.
it's okay. We're doing 41.
40 is supposed to be me, but I'll do 41.
Okay, you
Oh,
do
well,
41.
I'm 41.
Well,
Y'all, fix it up. Work it out. Are we ready? 41.
Make something up.
Express genuine gratitude. Find something you are actually happy to have. I get tired of people saying thank you for everything.
Yeah, not everything. Not
Douglas Adams
everything.
fans.
Only something. Right? 42.
If feeling good is too far from where you're at, make it your goal to feel neutral.
Yep, sometimes that's the case. 43.
How about just let yourself feel what you
43, sleep when you are tired, eat when you are hungry.
I should have read that one.
Okay, well, you can read it again. Let's come back to
That's
43.
okay.
Here we
Sleep
go.
when you are tired, eat when you are hungry.
Sweet. Thanks. 44.
I'll take this one. I identify with it closely. Working until you're at the point of exhaustion, at which time you collapse and feel totally paralyzed, is not working hard. It's abusing yourself.
Yep. Slow down some, huh? 46.
45 got skipped also. Human error.
Okay. We're good.
Write yourself a note in which you outline exactly what to do when you have a panicky feeling. When you're thinking clearly, tell yourself what to do when you're not.
Good one. 47. Remember that you're mortal. All of this will pass. No time is guaranteed. You're not stuck forever. Life moves quickly and it does not stop. You're only here for a moment. Try to savor it as much as you can.
Yeah.
That's great.
Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. You did a wonderful job trying a new thing.
That was fun.
Yeah,
I'm glad you liked
Really
it.
nice.
it was a lot.
It was, yeah, there were many of them.
They're
Yeah.
wonderful.
We're going to go ahead and move on to reminders. So go ahead and mute yourselves, please, and then we'll begin with those.
Okay. Move all my animals.
I'm going to scroll up to where I need to be, and then we'll continue. All right, well, the first reminder, we've been offering it, but I want to continue. And that is that in this time, if you need someone to talk to, the pastoral care team is available to listen and be there for you. So you can reach out. That's pastoralcare@uuoakland.org. And who you see here is Evelyn Sheridan, our current pastoral care coordinator. Thank you, Evelyn, for your support in that spot. And the next reminder, we're still working on Christmas chapels till December 11th to 22nd. We have just a few openings left. So if you would like to lead a Christmas chapel, it's a 20-minute Zoom that you fill with one of the messages you want to share about the holidays. So if you want to know more about that, I can certainly connect you with resources and support and let you know what days are open. Also, after service today, there will be a dominant culture huddle, which just means that I'll be spending time with dominant culture folks, giving a little bit of encouragement and insight for our next movements in our anti-oppression journey. And that's where I want to leave that. Let's go ahead and take a couple of smooth breaths. And then we'll have some ideas. Will you take in with me for just a moment the words of Somali British poet Morrison Shire? They set my aunt's house on fire. I cried the way women on TV do, folding at the middle like a 5-pound note. I called the boy who used to love me. I tried to okay my voice. I said, hello? He said, Warson, what's wrong? What happened? I've been praying, and these are what my prayers look like. Dear God, I come from 2 countries. One is thirsty. The other is on fire. Both need water. Later that night, I held an atlas in my lap, ran my fingers across the whole world, and whispered, where does it hurt? It answered, everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. The hurt of the world is resonant because it's concurrent with the hurt in our own hearts. When I went to think about all the strange things, the difficult things that have happened in 2020, what you'll find out is that I saw more than I wanted to see. And maybe you have too this year. Wayne Warner tells the story of a day when Chirpy the parakeet's owner decided to vacuum Chirpy's cage. And just then, her phone rang. While reaching for the phone, she inadvertently lifted up the vacuum hose and sucked Chirpy all the way through the tube into the dust bag. Frantically, she tore open the bag, pulled out her beloved bird, and gently rinsed him off under the faucet. Then she turned on the blow dryer and carefully blew him dry. Later, when someone inquired about Chirpy, she admitted, well, he doesn't sing that much anymore. Would you wonder? Sucked in, washed up, blown dry. That's enough to steal the song from any bird. Can you relate to that? Just when you conclude that it cannot possibly get any worse, it suddenly does. So this is one of those things I'm telling you I discovered. A massive star disappeared. For nearly 2 decades, astronomers studied a star in a galaxy, about 75 million light years away. It's reported in the Atlantic. Recently, they looked at latest observations and realized they couldn't find it anymore. The discovery was announced last month, in the past couple months, and it could be the first instance of a star collapsing into a black hole without first becoming a supernova. Then there is the discovery of giant hornets. They're 2 inches long, and probably, they say, people can survive a sting or 2. Right? Then there's everything you already know about pandemics and elections and challenges. When we think about all these things, one of the things it should turn us to is our resources. What do we have to meet these challenges? Well, some people that you and I both respect in Unitarian Universalism, including Bill Sinkford and John Cresswell, suggest that one of the most important things Unitarian Universalism holds at the center is our proclamation of the preciousness of the human being, of each and every one of us as we are. Even with disappearing stars, giant hornets, and other weirdness, you are good enough. You contain within who you are all that is necessary to love and grow deep and heal your own wounds and the wounds of the world. This is articulated as the first principle of our contemporary Unitarian Universalism. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. But then we have a good closer. You know you need a good closer, right? It's the 7th principle. Hopefully there'll be an 8th before long, but it grounds us and it radicalizes us by proclaiming that this is so because we are all of us and each and every one of us precious. And every other blessing in this cosmos is also united in a web of intimacy that is more deeply true than only our blood. This is the 7th principle of our contemporary Unitarian Universalism. We affirm and promote the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. There is one thing more. We are about the integration of these 2 truths as deeply known as explored, as manifest in a way of life. So it's one thing to know, but it's another thing to be, and yet another thing to do. Much of the exploration in the service up to this moment has been about your access to these 2 truths, both as practices and possibilities. Reverend Bill Sinkford, the Black minister of the First Unitarian Church of Portland and a former president of the Unitarian Universalist Association, invites us to expand those questions this way. How can we help one another to deepen our spiritual lives, encouraging one another to spiritual depth? For this too helps heal the world. And out of the place of nurture, what are we called to do to help heal the world? Tradition, action, and care for the soul are of one cloth. What is the saving message of our congregation? A little bit later in the service, we'll have time to reflect on these different aspects of healing. As you think about the healing message of this congregation, that will be a good time to share it with one another. Reverend Sinkford goes on to say that he had just such an experience of growth when he met with the UUA's growth team. It was an effort to understand growth in numbers, one of our primary goals. For 2.5 days, the cohort listened as they responded to provocative questions from the facilitator. Her first question was brilliant. What is the saving message of your congregation? It was fascinating to listen to, as in various theological language and just 2 or 3 sentences, people said the same thing. I trust that as we unfold how you describe the healing, saving mission of this congregation, we'll find common language that we can use and share so that people will know exactly all the life and strength and courage that runs underneath the surface. In the Woodlands, Texas, the Reverend Sarah Prickett of Northwoods Unitarian Universalist Church explains one of her symbols, something we've already done today. And it sums up this particular experience in the way that we want to. She says, we light the chalice at the beginning of each worship service. And the significance is that the communal message is that we are a light for truth, a place to be loved, a place where we help each other. I dare say that might be one of the strong healing messages of the congregation. But I'm very curious to hear more from your perspective and in your own words about those central healing messages and those everyday possibilities. May it be so. Let us make it so. We're now going to move on to an embodied reflection. If you brought a thing to rub and a thing to rub it with, that's perfect. Otherwise, you just need a paper, a coin, a leaf, or other flat, bumpy thing, and something to rub it with, like a pencil, a crayon. And Tara will lead us through this exercise.
All right. So this morning, we invented this bit of ritual to solidify our work. Healing. And we're taking a moment to gather materials, something to rub, something to rub on, something to rub with, and we'll take some deep breaths to give folks, oops, what did I do? We'll take some deep breaths to give folks a moment to gather their materials. I invite you to situate yourself in a way that is grounding. As you breathe, allow a place in your heart that needs healing to come to mind. Place your object or your leaf on a hard surface. Then place your sheet of paper on top. Could be from a journal or wax paper from the kitchen or copy paper from the printer. As you rub the paper with crayon, pencil, or chalk, the rubbing image will emerge. Envision the new growth in your life emerging over the wounds in the newly fallow ground of your heart. Name this new area of growth, this new habit or practice, this stepping stone on the path to your healing. Write that word or words on your rubbing. Breathe it in as if it is happening now, living into your healing, living into your practice. And so it is. You will now get an opportunity to share your reflection in the chat. There will be a link to a Jamboard, and this is new. So get ready to do something new. Oops, I'm sorry. I need to share that with everybody, not just one person. Okay. All right. So in the chat, there is a link to this Jamboard. And on the Jamboard, you click the sticky note icon and you can type your share. You may also find an image that you want to share. If you're really super skilled at these kinds of things, you can even take a picture of your rubbing and share it on the Jamboard. But I'm not going to give instructions for that. So I'm going to share the screen of the Jamboard and we'll see your works pop up. Let's see.
If folks want to put their words in the chat, then we can help them add that to the Jamboard if they would like.
So here is the sticky note. And here is adding an image. Well, one of the things you can do is do a Google image search, and I can write leaf rubbing. Oops, not. Select. And you can move it around. Very good. I will listen to my mother. I will accept how I am feeling. Bump up. Try it even if it might not work. I will find an appreciation of my experience, no matter how troubling it may appear. I will trust I am safe. I will be quirky and silly and do something unexpected sometimes.
I'm adding, I will make peace with myself. Thank you, Janice. Did everyone get something on the Jamboard who wants something on there? If you still would like something, just say something in the chat so that you can make sure to add it. Great. Well, thank you everyone for trying that and also sharing. We're going to be able to save this Jamboard and we'll be able to link you to it so you can refer to it in the future. Thank you, Tara, for helping us get that squared away.
It's fun.
And I'm so glad. What I'd like to do next is go ahead and move on to our closing music. So for that, oh, you know what? We didn't do invitation and generosity yet. So let's do that in closing music and benediction, and we'll be set.
Oh. Say. I think I had a cute slide for invitation to generosity here. So,
there it is.
Yeah,
a $4 bill.
Yeah, they used to use that in not a very nice way.
Now is the time in our service where we think about all the ways the church serves the good work of the universe and where we belong in those works. Years ago, I remember hearing the idea that what I give to the church might amount to a car payment. At the time, my ability to give wasn't even close. So I focused on contributing time and talent while increasing my financial giving a bit each year. This generosity continues to grow and is part of my healing practice. May all of our gifts heal our individual wounds and the wounds of the world. In the chat, there'll be a link to giving on our website. And is Vincent putting the link in the chat, or am I putting the link in the chat?
We can get the link. You can keep going. I'll get it for you.
Okay. So as we give electronically, let us say together, to the work of the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love
we call
community. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings.
Oh, there they are. Vince beat me to it. Thanks, Vince.
Thanks, Vince.
Great. And now we've got Now I Walk in Beauty.
Hello, everybody. So we're going to, can you hear, if you can hear me, give it a thumbs up, because I can't see if I'm on the screen or not. So, okay, if you can hear me, that's the important part. So we're going to sing Now I Walk in Beauty. Only 4 lines, I'll sing it, and you'll get it as we go. So let's just take a nice deep breath and settle in for this musical reflection. Now I walk in beauty, beauty Beauty is before me. Beauty is behind me, above and below me. Now I walk in beauty. Beauty is before me. Beauty is behind me, above and below.
Pastor Theresa, you're muted.
So let me not blab away and you not be able to hear me. That was beautiful, huh? We need to do that more often, maybe. Right, well, take an easy breath if that's your thing. If not, maybe relax your face, relax your throat. I invite you to cross your hands over your heart, clasp hands with those you're sharing space with, and hear these words of benediction. If we're going to come out of this long struggle with any momentum of energy and passion, then let us turn that effort toward what we dream. Not with half measures or window dressing, but with the careful acceptance of risk, with an intentional desire to see how far we can go. In a word, let us set the bar of hope high before us. Let us dare to rebuild justice for all. Let us turn outward once more to the family of nations with new ideas and visionary possibilities. Let us unite every community on earth to act now to preserve our planet for generations to come. We should not crawl out of our recent past, but step beyond it with purpose and confidence. A new era is in the making. Renewal is in the air. So may it be. Let us see to it. Thank you for joining us today. And if you're a dominant culture person, we do invite you to the caucus that's coming up just next. Thank you, everyone.